asked about how were the strategic intents created. They were created by many sources of data. So someone on the core team, would you like to? I will gladly do it, but is anyone interested in explaining? Okay, I'll do it. I just didn't want to, steal your thunder because you did all the work. So there were surveys. You probably all remember taking surveys called a data triangle. And in those surveys, the questions are sort of similar to the stakeholder group. So students, staff, and community. And the questions are sort of similar. And what the core team did was look at those, look at that survey data and say, what are the patterns? What did all three groups kind of say about something? So if only one group said it, yeah, they took it into consideration, but it probably wouldn't end up in the strategic intent. But that wasn't the only data they used. They also used the focus forum interviews that we conducted. Some of you were involved in that. And so those then kind of corroborated what was happening in the surveys. We also had a presentation by the principals of achievement data, student achievement data. So they looked at that to see how does that fit in. And then they looked at best practices of high-performing schools, and not just for high-performing in testing, but high-performing in innovation. So they looked at all of those things, and they read some articles. And so with all of that data, that's how they came up with, what do we want our school to look like in 5 years? And when you get to read those strategic intents, you'll see what your core team's intentions were. Does that help you understand where this came from? So you won't be going through all of that data. You will be researching on your own more data about, okay, so now how do we make these strategic intents happen? But that other data, you can totally trust that your core team did their work and that those strategic intents are really solid and where the district wants to go in the next 5 years. Right? That make sense?
I would add too that we looked at where we were failing, or not necessarily failing, but not doing so well based off of all that data.
Yes.
So we looked at like what was HCS not doing, what were we failing to achieve, and kind of helping that to drive a lot of this. Not all of it, but some.
Because you just made me think of it. When you see your reports, you will see a place called critical issues. Those issues came from all of that data. So your critical issues will sort of help you along as well.
Now that we're kind of put into separate and more concentrated groups, do we have access to that data? I know, critical issues from that, but in comparing, contrasting, figuring out where we need to go and how far we need to go, do we have access to that data that's internal?
I'm going to ask you to hold on that question to see if it's really needed, because when you see the strategic intents, that's really going to be your focus. If you sort of get yourself into that data, then you kind of start that whole process over again of looking at other things. So let's see where we go with it. It's not been usual that people have needed that data, because that was what the core team's purpose was, is to dig through all that. Not that anybody doesn't want you to see it, we don't want you to get mired in it, because your job is to really look at those strategic intents which came from that data. Once we look at the strategic intents and cascade this all out, then I'll ask you if you still want that, okay? Okay, so
In timeline, I think we asked
timeline. When it should be finished?
Yeah.
So, yes. So the October board date, which I don't have at this point.
They don't have it yet either.
Yeah, that's what I mean. We don't have the October board date, but that's the intent. So the two things you have to do before that, all the other stuff is very flexible according to you, but there will be a core team meeting where you will report to the core team midway. Everybody on the team can do it, or your facilitators can do it. So you will kind of report to the core team. This is where we're going. How does this kind of look? And they will, give you feedback. Then there will be a final core team meeting of core team. How's this look? They have to vote on it. Is this acceptable? Do we want to go with it? And then from there it'll go to the board. So all of the other meetings in between will be flexible for you, but those are 3 meetings that will be sort of structured.
Do we have a date for that 14 feedback meeting?
No. What we wanted to do is see, tonight you will all be able to talk in sort of calendar things, and we'll ask, what does that look like? What might that look like? We probably should look at the last core team meeting being at the end of September, or third way through September, because your board meeting is typically, is it middle?
If it stays the same, it's the second weekend
Okay.
in the month.
So the one thing I can give you is the third week of September should be that final core team meeting. And there should be one halfway between that. And the core team understood that maybe in August we might be having a meeting. Okay? So right now, well, give me a little feedback about what is your understanding so far of your task, based on what you read, and it will open up more, I promise. But what is your understanding right now? So this table is talking about we need to get the logistics in place. We need to structure our team, and then what do you think over here?
We've got action plans to develop on 5.
I think I heard somebody say something over here important.
We have action plans to develop on 5 initiatives.
There you go. So they counted how many initiatives they had, and they said they have to develop strategies and action plans for those 5. In a nutshell, that's exactly it. You're looking at those strategic intents, and you're creating strategies and action plans. And you will get to see samples so that you say, oh, yes, I totally understand this.
Yeah. Yeah.
You have 8.
Feeling really overwhelmed.
So what might happen here is a little splitting up, because the core team, we had another task force called Support Services, and we melded that in with the dynamic academic culture. So you may be kind of splitting off to do some of those things. Like who's my core team people? Okay, so let's read another couple of pages. I think you'll understand even more.
So you have to have like a little bit of space that we met 8 times
Basically,
and looked through all the data and took analyze and then analyzed and said what are the things we can do and what are the biggest changes we can make for the grade system.
So, for example, for RTI,
Well, I think that's.
We can do some stuff on
Yes.
it. I mean, it's
But so now we say this has been we had to figure out where the areas were. So this is an area. Now this group has to figure out how.
right.
That basically was the
why
This is
I would
how
like more data or more
August is-
information
yeah,
with
I'll
the
be
summary
facing
report
August.
or
Until August.
when we talk about curriculum here.
There for the 4th of July. We're going to
Are we talking
at the parade.
Yeah, so now as part of the
People come from far and
break
wide.
that out.
Yeah.
So we say curriculum and you say how. Okay. So we say data.
So this report,
Like hours.
there's these
Yeah.
3
I
sections.
would say I have a single question.
What page do you want?
Page 32.
High school, middle school, elementary, those are all.
So part of
But the plan can separate that.
Correct. And the curriculum is very important.
I think at one point in the overview it says that we can review those. It looks to me like just as we feel.
Okay. It looks to me like you're going to have
It's a K-12 system. It develops students from K through 12.
come up with the
Can
action
no
plan.
longer, I'm not talking about
Oh, so there's
no
like-
longer be these isolated schools. It has to be
But I guess I'm
a
just wondering,
system.
like,
So that's
seems
where
like
you
A
can, and you'll
is
see some examples of that. You can be creating
Section A
files.
would be like a motivation.
So you might say,
one,
create a curriculum change.
right? These are the critical issues to SWOT.
It's very deep. This is the goal, but the plan has to be,
Like,
which
do
is
we have
the
that?
hardest part. So now we're gonna have
Is
to
there
break
information
this section
that
off
you
and research
guys
and
have already
figure it out.
for section A?
Make a recommendation.
That's the only thing we've produced really, right?
Right, and I think we can take it pretty much directly from.
No.
It's sort of implied.
One item.
In other words, we want to increase the number of effective staff.
So we're gonna have to talk
There's a
about
clearly outlined
that.
direction.
So they asked us to put
District
And
plan
you
for
won't be
replacement of
focusing, this is the
purchase
overall charge.
Just to put everything that's like measurable.
On the intent.
Right,
You
yeah.
need
They're all the
to
same.
those intent.
I will say that one of my pet peeves is that I don't really care.
You're so excited because they have so much. Okay, so Dr. Indy would like to add something for your benefit.
That was big, kind of forced us to do
There's some stuff on here like that
Oh, yeah,
specifically.
they're all written. They're all written.
Then we said there's things that are hard to measure
For
for
the
this
last 40 minutes, that's
exist or doesn't exist. And there's a lot of stuff when we talk about infrastructure and maintenance. that hopefully none of us never worry about, right? That it's principles, maybe the principles.
Okay, my friends, so here's a resource for people who really want to get more backstory. On our district website, if you go to on the home page, under district, there's a tab that says strategic planning update. If you click on that, it will give you short videos and the notes from all of the 7 core team meetings. And so that's one way for people who want backstory. We never video when people are working in groups, but we do have when there were presentations. So Kevin did a presentation, Bill did a presentation, I did one. And those kinds of, that kind of information is right on the website in video form. And then you can just click on the notes, and that's for people who like a little extra context to feel a little bit more engaged in the work. So that's a resource right on the website. District, tab down to strategic planning update, and we'll be putting these updates in there as well. Good.
Okay. So before we dig deeper, let's read what the facilitator's job is so that we can assign. You had said you would be a facilitator. So let's read page 17, number 6. 17, number 6. It's a lot of work, so we suggest you have co-facilitators.
17, number 6.
We'll trade it with a meeting with 2 people each time.
Should we elect somebody to be in charge of that rotation?
Other people are not here who would be on this team. I heard on technology.
Yeah, we already tried that.
No.
No. I just want to give people a heads up if they will have more people.
This group is...
Yeah.
Maybe we can handle it. The table's not big enough. There you go. That group, I told them that they would have 2 more.
Okay.
And I think there's one more.
Yeah.
No. Oh, you know what? There is one more.
Okay, so now that you've read through the duties of the facilitator, what I'd like you to do right now is to please assign, appoint, choose, point at,
Who's the one more?
push up their chair, your facilitator. I know they will bubble up. There are so many leaders in this room. I mean, all of you really are leaders who would really be here. So, who is going to be your facilitators of your groups? Yeah, you definitely need to go. It's a big group.
I mean, I can share that. Just because it's easy for us to communicate.
I'm retired. I might have more time.
All in favor?
Thank you. You can't even say that.
I'm second your first
So let's look at some example. I want to see if you, okay, let's look at some example reports. So let's turn to page 32. So 32 through 35 will be your report, and you will get these reports with critical issues and strategic intents in them. You may add critical issues. You may do that. Some task forces have done that. You won't change strategic intents. Those will always remain the same. Those are what have been agreed upon by the core team, but you might have some different critical issues which might help you dig down, drill down into action plans. Yes, and you know, really the charge, you already know that, you have that on your table, so if you don't want to read through that, I would suggest going right over to report B1 and B2 on page 34. I think that will give you more information about your job, your task.
What is this? I know that's separate on the desk.
I'll tell you that. I'll tell you that in just a second. We're going to use those next. Yes, thank you. Yes, exactly. That's exactly what we're doing. That's exactly what we're doing. So only yours will be on
See
your
how in
report.
B1 our strategic intents will be plugged right in there. We don't have to take our first report B1 already done. And then strategies and action plans, that's where we'll have to start.
Dan's enforcing our no girls allowed.
So it was just great figuring out scheduling and like,
Not here.
I'm still kind of feeling overwhelmed by all of these. And like this is what the drawing towards choosing one that I am interested in. You feel like I have something to add. There issues that I partner with somebody. So I think if you like want to be like good on.
So I feel like a big thing we need to start with is knowing more about how technology is used. And also, what's the infrastructure issues we're dealing with?
Right.
What plans that are currently in place? Are there plans currently in place? I don't think
You have an analytical.
training. The 2 things we talk about here are replacement cycles, so purchasing equipment, and then also the ongoing maintenance of infrastructure.
Okay.
Do you know if there are plans in place for this stuff?
I know there's
when you get your reports, your charge, and this is going to be your time. There are 3 computers, Hannibal Central School District, Cincinnati Central School District, and Horsehead Central School District, 3 full plans. If you're interested in taking a look at those plans to see what they look like, if there's things in there that may match what you're doing, you might get some ideas. So any of the computers that have the orange tag, feel free to look at those. So your job now is to sort of structure your meetings, get your calendars synced, plan your time, so when do we think we need to be done with certain things. And I heard some task forces saying they're going to split up some of the strategies, or I'm sorry, strategic intents, and sort of work on them separately and then work together with the group. So however you structure this is totally up to you. Just know by August, there will be a report to the core team of where you are. And then in September, late September, you will present all of your work to the core team and then to the Board of Ed. So I will be here for the rest of the time to ask questions, use those reports, and begin.
Can I jump in for one
sure.
quick
Oh,
thing?
sorry, Dan. Yeah,
the core team wanted to make sure when they created the strategic intents that there was an underlying sense of 2 basic concepts within every task force, although that's not always as apparent in some of the strategic intents or in some of the task forces as written. I wanted to let you know so you knew. The communication was a big thing that they wanted to be brought up in every task force that addressed not only what we're going to do, but how we're going to make sure it's communicated well to everyone involved. And also protocols and systems, so that we're not just saying we're going to do it, but we have to have a way to make sure that it happens in a logical and organized way to enable it to happen with, and that kind of mixes in with communication. So those were 2 areas that they wanted to make sure were addressed in all of the task forces. Just going to put that out there for you.
So any questions so far for the whole group?
So as we get information together, and like our team just comes up with like 3 things that we want to share out, can we, I know we can't put it on the district website because that's monitored or whatever, but where do we share that information when
So
we get it?
tell me the purpose of sharing, just so I know exactly what the question is.
Like we're, I don't know, like we're talking about PTO, for example. Like if we get some stuff, we have some great ideas and we want to share out.
So if you want to like interview people and stuff like that, you can, but you're the group that's making the decisions. If you get all this great information, you say, this would be a great idea, then you say, this is our strategy, we're going to do this, and this is how we're going to get to that.
Okay.
But if you want other people's input, you might want to go out and interview people and things like that.
But where are we supposed to put this on our?
You will get the template. So Dan,
She
within
means email. Like you find a great article, how are you going to share it?
How do we share
with
out?
each other, with your group, you mean, or?
Like a group email.
Email.
Or do you mean further?
Well, I just don't want to have the task forces involved in like do.
Oh, yeah, no,
She's
no,
saying
no,
you
no,
will.
no,
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, you're keeping it within your unit. That's what I was thinking. I was thinking if we get involved with the task forces sharing with each other, then it's going to do a lot more. So you're the group information.
So it sounds like the facilitators take all the facilitators.
Yeah, it wouldn't hurt, but
yeah.
Makes sense. What we will do is get a roster of everybody standing here.
or
We have a midway point and end point to share that.
Sounds
You
good.
don't want 20 cooks in your kitchen.
No, it's just, I mean, what I'm thinking is
So in the next couple of days, Dan will get you those templates, and you will start writing your strategies and action plans and writing those templates.
So I leave
Okay?